Hello and welcome to AgriFoods for Youth, Women and Men podcast, where we discuss and showcase proven solutions to the challenges facing agriculture or the challenges that young men and women face in agriculture. We try to look into what are the solutions to those challenges, what are the proven solutions. And so we hope by doing this, we are not only passing knowledge, but also creating awareness on some of the things that might not be, known widely. And so that's the main purpose for this podcast. Thank you for stopping by. My name is Harriet Mawea. If you want to partner with us in any way that you would want to, feel free to. And you can reach out to us through our email address, which will be put on the screen. All right. So in this particular episode, we're going to be discussing, as you can see in the title. But before then, I want to give my highlight. So we have decided, the producer and myself, we have decided that before we do an episode, we give an highlight on a trend that is happening or on something that we came across that we feel is beneficial or that needs to be known about. So in today's episode, my highlight will be about the iFarm 360 app. So the iFarm 360 app, or the website, when you search iFarm360.com, it will definitely come. It's an app that brings together different stakeholders in agriculture. These are consumers, producers, investors, and all that. So if, let's say, you want to invest in farming and you want to empower farmers, for instance, in Kenya, to produce more, or you want to promote food security and to improve livelihoods, and you have some money somewhere where you can support a farmer who probably does not have enough capital and they have other factors of production, then you can definitely do that. So they showcase to you the different projects that you can invest in, and these are high-yielding farming projects. This is purely for farming, producing agricultural products. So these are investments. They are for different investment periods. If you want to invest for 12 months, if you want to invest for 3 months, there are those options. It also shows you the expected returns that you will get once you invest, because once you do that, you're able to get the amount of money that you invested and also the return. And as well, it's highly competitive. So if you really want to invest in it, you have to be very strategic about how to get that investment, because they post it like that and in 1 minute it's gone. Somebody already invests. So I found it really interesting. So if you have some money somewhere that you want to invest in agriculture, you can definitely count on this particular app. Personally, I do not know the owners of the app. They have shown where they feature in the various news. I do not know the owners, but we do not need to know them because they're doing an amazing thing. I think this is really brilliant. This is great. And if you're looking for somewhere to invest your money in agriculture, you can definitely do that. And also, if you're a young woman or man and you do not have enough capital to do the production of agriculture or whatever it is that you want to produce, you can definitely become a member in that in the iFarm 360 website, and they will definitely, of course, ask you various questions and all that to register you. And of course, I believe you can be able to get some money that you can invest in your production. And definitely, of course, this is monitored to ensure the money comes back, because there have been so many issues of people, investing in agriculture and their money not coming back. So how it works, they showcase that up to date, they have been able to achieve various things, such as supporting 2,000 smallholder farmers. They have managed investments worth $120,000. Investment paybacks is above 80,000 USD, and farmer earnings are above 100,000 USD. That's a good look. How it works, so if you want to invest in a farming project, how it works is that you come to the site, of course, and then you choose from the captured farming projects or the curated farming projects, and you select the number of units that you want to invest in. You can invest in projects using your M-Pesa or the bank transfer. So there's the option of M-Pesa, making it very convenient for many people that really use M-Pesa. Then how your investment grows. So you let your investment to grow once the farming project is fully funded. So you start by farming, and then you support the farmers with they support the farmers with the agronomy training and supervision and farm inputs and technical equipment, making sure that the money that you're given, it does work and it will bring, of course, a return. And then the third part of this is, of course, receiving the returns plus the initial investment. So once you invest, you're able to get your return back and the initial investment. After a successful farming cycle, the made profits will be shared with you, the investor. So this is a really beautiful app. That's my highlight for today. I will request my producer to put their website here so that you're able to easily find it for yourself if you're really interested in that. All right, so we dive into the topic of today. All right, so in today's episode, I decided to discuss something that I was able to observe when I was in the fieldwork. Last month, I've been in the fieldwork a lot. So I was able to observe a few things on agriculture. I was doing some fieldwork on some work related to young men and women in agriculture. So I was able to observe some things that I felt are very interesting to let you guys know, and let's discuss in the comment section how these are important to our agricultural production. So we are in a phase of life where for us to increase production, we definitely have to move from the old ways of doing agriculture. We definitely have to. For us to see increased production and to see a change in our agricultural production. Remember, Africa's population is growing rapidly. We are not going down, it's up. And so as the population grows more and more, the more mouths we have to feed, and therefore the need to increase production. However, production for various cereals such as maize has been going down, for instance, in Kenya. And that's a major concern, because if production is going down, then how will we be able to feed the increase in population? So definitely we have to increase production. We really have to do some thorough work on changing, and this has to stem from the rural areas, because these are the areas where we see agricultural production in large scale or in big farms. In the urban setup, nobody has a huge farm, maybe few, but in the rural areas, we can find smallholder farmers with huge farms, and especially in the arid and semi-arid areas that we give less attention to. Yet those are the places that we need to look into to have increased production and to support production of food. All right. So I will be discussing 3 points that I feel are really important to discuss from my interaction previously in the fieldwork in Kenya. All right, so let's go into the first point. It's early in the morning, I'm having my tea, but let's dive into the first point. The first point on what I really discovered, or what I was able to see when I was in the field, is that we still have cultural practices dictating how we do agricultural production. Cultural practices. So when you stay a lot in Nairobi, you might not really understand the gist of the things that go on in the rural areas. But when you visit the rural areas and when you go to the ground, when you stay on the ground, you really get to see the main thing or the exact things that are happening on the ground. So one thing I noted is that the culture for different communities, they influence how we do agriculture production. And I'll give you an example. So we were talking just casually after we are done with the study, casually with some of the young men and women, and I'm asking them how is it for them being able to access, of course, factors of production, land, How is it easy for them and all that? So of course, even the literature shows that for young people to access land is not that easy. They have to wait for their parents to give them land. So they inherit land. The other way to get land, of course, is from purchasing it from, of course, the freehold kind of land tenure where you are able to buy and it becomes a private property. But how many young people in Kenya are they in a position to buy land? Very few. Very few are in a position to buy land. So they have to depend on their parents to provide for them the land to do farming on whatever they want to do. So one thing that came up when we were discussing with these young people was how their parents, the household head, influences what to plant, when to plant, and when to harvest. I personally did not know about that. So they are the ones that have to say, we can only plant this crop. And once I put my foot down as the household head that this is the only crop that we're going to plant, that's it. You do not have a say. And that's cultural. Another thing that was cultural was that for the planting season to start, the household head must go to the farm and put a digger or just showcase something do something to indicate that it's time to start planting. If they do not do that, nobody plants. Even if you want to plant how much and the household head has not given the go-ahead, you cannot plant. You wait. Something that was more of a surprise was the aspect of harvesting. That as a young woman or a young man, you cannot harvest until the household head goes to the farm and harvests. So if they do not do it as the first person, you're not able to do it. So what happens is if they don't do it, the crop rots in the farm, it's not harvested. And those young people that were expressing these sentiments, they said they were not happy with that. Personally, I'm not happy with it. Why is it that they do not have autonomy on doing agriculture? Like if they are over 18 and someone wants to do agricultural production, probably as a parent, and you have enough land, give them some land to do it. But then don't dictate what they do. Don't tell them, I have to say which crop, I have to influence when to plant, when to harvest. Man, I think that's a cultural practice that I did not like. So this is culturally linked. It's a traditional way of doing things that I found to be really backward and that does not benefit the young people that we want so much to continue producing, because we are in a crisis where the rural area is full of older generation that are doing agriculture. So if we do not provide a good enabling environment for the young people to come in and start doing agricultural production, we're gonna be extinct of farmers, for lack of a better word. So there's a need to create environments that really favor young people to do agriculture without feeling like they are being supervised, they're being checked on, you can't do this until someone does this as a young woman. I really did not like that kind of a culture. But you can tell me if that is something that is happening in your culture. If you're from Kenya, that was somewhere in the western side. I won't mention the specific place, but you tell me, if you come from sides of Homa Bay, the western side and all that, you let me know if there are still cultural practices that are influencing how you do agriculture. And you let me know what is the solution to this. Because I don't think it's something that is helping the young people that we really want to see do agriculture and do farming. The second thing that I noted is how some of our rural areas are inaccessible. The roads are not tarmacked. The roads have ditches and all that. If you have a car, if you have a very, let's say, a lower car, a smaller car, you might get into a ditch and not come out. God forbid it's raining. You'll be stuck in those areas because the roads are not accessible. When you're in Nairobi and you go around Kiambu County, everywhere it's tarmacked. The rural areas of Kiambu County, everybody has a tarmac road. The roads get to their gates, and most of the central area, which is around Nairobi, we have lots of the accessibility is good. Lots of tarmac roads. But when you go in some of the counties in Kenya, in the rural areas, there are no roads. It's not accessible, and also there's no electricity. I'll give an example with Tharaka Nithi County. So Tharaka Nithi County is it's a left behind county, I'm telling you. So you move from Nairobi, you go to Embu, Upite Embu, you go to Ishara, Kanywambora. Once you pass Kanywambora going on, you realize that Tharaka Nithi is a semi-arid, definitely, because the climate changes, the weather changes and all that. Another thing that changes is how social amenities are scarce. There are no accessible roads to some extent, and the electricity also is not something that you will find in the rural areas. However, I can give them the benefit of doubt in that currently I saw some electrical posts that are taking electricity to the people in the rural areas, and there's also a lot of now trying to tarmac their roads. It's now that they're doing it. All these other time, it's been inaccessible. I even remember where I was supporting the study and where we were doing the study, it's like a 15-minute drive to one of the prominent people in the country, and that is the vice president, the current vice president. So you're like, okay, so this is the home of the vice president, but it's not accessible. I was even told you can't go there with your car, you have to go with your motorbike. You have to go with a motorbike because the road is not accessible. And I'll give you an example as well. Another thing that I found not accessible and something that should be accessible to everybody is water. So I had a respondent, a young woman that came in late, and I was talking to her, and I just asked her, how come you really come late when we've already studied and all that? So she told me that she had to walk 3 to 5 hours to go fetch water in the river and come back. Imagine we're in 2025, but we still have our rural areas where people do not have water. They do not have these basic things that probably should be available for people. So I wonder, when we have these development funds for different counties, where they go to if they're not developing our counties and our rural areas. So that's something that really did not make me happy, or that's something that I was able to note, and that is my second point. You tell me, if you've been in the Tharaka Nithi, for instance, county, you tell me what you are able to observe, and also why is it that you can't compare Meru County and Tharaka Nithi, yet they are together. It's like you're here, Tharaka Nithi, and then Meru County. Even Embu County is very close to Tharaka Nithi, but Tharaka Nithi is completely different. It's left out. Yet, one thing that I was very happy about Tharaka Nithi is it's a hub for all the different cereals that we need. The green grams, dengu, the cowpeas, the pigeon peas, all the pieces from the dry areas, they come from that place. Yes, Tharaka Nithi is a hub of cereals. You find the sorghum, the different varieties of sorghum and millet, the white, the red. I also saw black millet, which is also there. So it's really a hub of all these different cereals that we really need. And these cereals cannot be found anywhere else. It's only in such areas, like in Tharaka Nithi, there are semi-arid areas, and in some parts of Kitui, actually in Kitui County as well. So these are very important cereals and foods in our food systems that we need to give a lot of attention to ensure that they do not extinct, but we continue to produce them. So the last thing, as we come to the end of this episode, the last thing that I noted, and I don't want to elaborate more on this, is the issue of gendered roles in the community or in the society. This was not something I asked anybody, but I was just able to observe. So for instance, I noted in these small towns, you will find men lots of men concentrated in those towns. And what are they doing? They're seated. Talking, discussing, I guess, let's say discussing security matters, or even playing, chess, whatever it is, or in the bars. That's something I observed, that men are somewhere just seated. I don't know what they're doing. You tell me what men in rural areas, especially in the towns, in the small towns, they go there and sit. So you tell me, what do they go to do there? But the women, you will see the women, they're the ones who are taking care of the herd, taking care of the cows and the goats. They're the ones in charge of the kids, the children. They're the ones going to the river to fetch water. By the way, I did not see any man carrying a jerry can from the river. I was only seeing women with jerry cans going to look for water, going to fetch water and come back. I did not see a man with a jerry can, come to think of it. And if I saw one, it was maybe they had a bicycle or motorbike, carrying water with motorbike. Actually, I saw men who are carrying water with a tuk-tuk. A tuk-tuk is a very tiny car that is like a motorbike that has an extended part where you can put jerry cans of water or any other luggage. So that's what I was able to observe. But the many other that I saw that were fetching water with jerry cans were women. Women, even with herds of animals, to some extent. Not to some extent. I saw that in the Rakanidi. I saw women, taking care of herds. And definitely, there are children in the homes. These are the same women taking care of the children in the homes. These are the same women, definitely in some areas. Actually, I've just remembered. In these rural areas, they were mentioning how women are cautious with making sure when they are harvesting, they harvest the right crops. So they make sure that it doesn't mix with the bad, harvest and all that. So they're the ones that are harvesting, they're the ones that are engaged. There was too many roles that women were doing, but I did not see a lot of roles that men were doing. And it resonates to some extent, but then I also ask myself, why? Why would the woman do everything and the man not do a lot? And you can look at the studies that have been done about, care work, or the number of hours that rural women work. I remember reviewing a study that was looking into the number of hours that women were able to work, what they were doing, and the amount of sleep they were able to sleep. So you would find that the woman would wake up very early in the morning, around 5 a.m. to prepare kids that are going to school, for instance, and then they would come back at home to continue with the home chores. Then they would, of course, go to the shamba, do whatever. When they come back from the shamba, there are other chores at home to do. And then again, at night, they would mention that they would sleep around 1 a.m. So this woman sleeps at 1 a.m. and wakes up at 5 a.m. How many hours have they slept? And they are in the rural areas. But for men, it was completely different. The man comes, he's served the food, he eats at 8, and he goes to sleep, and he wakes up probably at 6 or 7 when the woman has already woken up. So I saw those gender roles, which are still in our rural setups. And you tell me, what is the solution to this? Personally, I am not biased because I am a woman or anything, but I feel women really get tired working, taking care. And we have this notion of telling our parents, especially our moms, that they are strong. I don't know if that's a compliment because are they really strong, or is it that they had to do it? They just had to because there was nobody else to support or do it. So you tell me, how gender roles are in the rural areas. And there are many other things I may go into, but at this point, for this particular episode, we can just talk about gender roles that I saw. So those are the three main things that I saw, that I observed when I was in the field last month. We're in September 2025. That was last month, August 2025. So there are cultural practices that influence agricultural production. Our rural areas are still inaccessible. Basic things like water, they are still, of an issue such that they're not readily available. And the third thing is on the gender roles, the gender roles, you find one of, the women doing a lot and men probably just chilling, You tell me if that's what you observe in your rural setups. And what are the solutions to some of these things? Are they normal? Is it normal really for the woman to do a lot of things, probably without help? And what do we need to see change? What exactly should we think about? And one thing I really say, or that I think is very important, is some of the things that we discuss and that we say about issues to do with gender equality or gender roles or gender related issues. I wish these things were looked at as a whole community issue, not just a woman issue, because some of the things that we want to see change will only change when the men are on board. When the men are like, okay, indeed, there's a need for this to change and I'm going to make a change. I'm going to take it as a responsibility as a man to see the change, So they are not women issues, they are all our community issues, and there's a need for all of us to come together and look at solutions so that we ensure there's a balance and everybody, especially in issues of women and men, there is some balance, And of course, there are many other things that I saw during the field work. I think probably I might do a part 2 of this because I'm just remembering other things that I think are very interesting to mention and that are really like showcasing how the society is evolving, especially in issues of gender equality. So that one I might have another episode where we discuss that and where I let you know what I saw as issues that were showcasing how gender equality or gender related cultural issues are changing, because I also observed that, which is something good. So as much as there are gender roles for women and men in the rural areas, there is also a segment of where we are seeing rural areas that are well developed, especially if they have tarmacked roads, they have electricity, they're just well connected. You see a change in the way things happen or a change in the way allocation of land is done nowadays. So that's something we can discuss in the next episode. Please stay tuned. I hope these are interesting things for you, especially if you're really engaged in agriculture sector or you are looking into issues of food systems. Again, I would mention, feel free to partner with us. We are happy to do that and to discuss and create awareness on some of these things. I hope in the next episode we will have a guest as well. If you want to discuss a particular topic and you want to be featured in our podcast, feel free. This is a podcast that accommodates all of us because it discusses things that are in our community and in society that can only be tackled by all of us and not by one person. All right, guys, so that's it for today. Thank you so much again for stopping by, and we will see you in the next episode. Bye.